Let's continue here. Sibanye-Stillwater and AMCU have reached a 5-year wage deal at the company's Rustenburg and Marikana platinum operations. The agreement includes a 6% increase in each year in respect of annual wages and benefits for employees at the two operations. For more on this, we're joined by Krister, Janse van Rensburg, who is the AMCU head of Organisational Development. Krister, good evening to you. Thanks for coming into studio tonight. Quite significant, I would imagine, that you've been able to reach a 5-year wage agreement.
Can you believe it, Kathy?
No, I can't, actually.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful, isn't it? You remember back in 2012 when our President Joseph Matunjwa was calling for 12,500 Rand, people were saying he's crazy, that mine workers earning 3,400 Rand could be demanding 12,500. Today, as we stand here, the lowest earning worker is earning 14,000. And at the end of this agreement, guess where we will go? 20,000 Rand for the lowest earning worker. So it's a landmark agreement. We are ecstatic.
These are significant milestones, but that have not come without a cost, especially when we look at the employer that you've entered into this agreement with, Sibanye-Stillwater, that would largely also still carry the burden of the cost of what it's taken to be able to get here today.
We are confident that Sibanye-Stillwater will be able to produce what they have been producing. You know, they had a record year last year. Actually, for 2 years now, they were doing very well. This deal is sustainable. At a high level with them, we agree that it's sustainable. So we are very, very, very happy as we stand here.
Let's talk about some of the unresolved issues on the table, because we know that despite what has been taking place within the organization, there are many issues that workers have been raising around Sibanye-Stillwater, and this is what it believes the company has neglected to do over the years when it comes to its own part, even in the community where it operates. The fact that there's this progress in the boardroom, does that translate into then other aspects that affect the lives of mine workers?
We are positive. We are positive. There are 3 working groups. The one looks at profit share, a new profit share program, as well as employee share ownership programs, as well as housing. As you know, housing is a critical issue for the communities. So we are very positive that we'll engage over these 5 years in those working groups to address these very critical issues for the surrounding communities. Yes, I mean, the contrasts are bad. I don't know if you have been to Marikana, for instance. The squalor around those mining operations, I mean, it's inconceivable. So it needs to be addressed. And I think as AMCU, we will focus our energy now in those working groups to address these issues. It's all about social upliftment. It's all about economic emancipation. We've been able to emancipate the workers. Each of these workers, as you know, it's commonly accepted, represents about 10 people directly in a family. And if you take it indirectly, you can say 100 people. So what do we have here is 34,000 people. So you can say indirectly, we made a deal today for 3.4 million poor, let me say, lower to middle class South Africans. That is, I think, a landmark agreement.
Part of AMCU's, track record is, of course, is that you're also known for staging some of the longest-running industrial action in the sector. So you've struck this deal with Sibanye-Stillwater. Are you hoping you'll be able to do the same with other companies?
We actually have. All of the companies have concluded this year. Sibanye-Stillwater was the last one in the Platinum Belt. We've done very well. You're right about strikes. You might recall the 5-month strike.
Yes. And
to a large extent, we must be honest that what's happening now, the peace that we have now on the Platinum Belt, is a result of the sacrifices of those years, the 5-month strike, and specifically the workers.
What do you think it fundamentally changed in as far as the tone then of having these negotiations?
One of the main things is the issue of trust. I think during these negotiations with Sibanye-Stillwater, we've started rebuilding a trust relationship. It's a long way still to go, but I believe we can cross the bridge. It's been difficult. You know, in gold we also struck earlier this year. It was quite tough. But I think you start with baby steps, and what's happening is people start appreciating the integrity of parties coming to the table. And for that reason, we are very positive. And as I said, for 5 years now, we will have industrial peace in this sector, which is excellent news.
What have you promised or committed to in as far as stability is concerned? Because I would imagine that would be a big consideration for even an operation like Sibanye.
Yes. Typically in these wage agreements, we have what we call a peace clause. So it means that there's a clause that says that all matters relating to substantive terms and conditions of employment are settled by this agreement. So already there's peace in that agreement. And then if you build through the softer issues, as I can call it, the issues of profit share, the issues of employee share ownership, housing, community issues, issues related to the mining charter, the social and labor plan, those issues are non-substantive issues that we can then focus on and start building more and more of the social role of every mining company in the country.
All right, Krister, let's leave it there for tonight. Certainly some good news for workers and for the industry, especially given the longevity of this kind of agreement, 5 years, that we're almost guaranteed no strikes. Of course, I imagine, depending on what happens, nothing cast in stone.
Thank you, Kathy.